Hey guys, Metasploit here, back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at hacking web servers, or basically gaining access to web servers. So let's get started. So this video is going to be about gaining access to web servers. So essentially these are going to be server-side attacks. Now this essentially means that the real thing that you need here is the target or the server's IP address, which we are lucky in most cases is usually going to be static or will not change very much. So for example, if you had a domain like facebook.com, and I'm just saying you wanted to attack facebook.com, the first thing you would do, I'm running ParrotOS as my operating system of choice for this video. Again, I just wanted to have some a bit of mixing here with Kali Linux and ParrotOS, etc, etc. So as I was saying, to get the server IP address, you essentially need to check if it's running. And one way you could do this is by pinging it. So we can try and ping something like facebook.com and if let's see if we get a response. Yeah, we do get a response. So we know that facebook.com is up and running and we have the IP address, and this IP address may be changing here and there, but for the most part it'll stay the way it is. So that's a very good thing. Now, the difference between server side and client side is that the client side requires a bit of user interaction. So for example, if we wanted to exploit a person's computer, it would require the user to perform a bit of interaction, like running a program or running a file that contains malware or an exploit, something like reverse TCP shell, something like that, etc, etc. I hope you guys are getting the idea. Now, as I said, when we're talking about servers, one of the best ways to practice this is by using Metasploitable. Alright, more specifically Metasploitable 2. Now, Metasploitable is an operating system, a Linux operating system that is essentially made to be vulnerable and is there to allow you to customize your lab. So it works as a virtual lab that allows you to learn and to practice your pen testing skills against server based systems. So it comes pre-installed with a whole lot of services that are vulnerable, and the operating system, as I said, is designed to be vulnerable. So that's what we're going to be using to be testing out our attacks. Now I'm going to be linking the download in the download link in the description for Metasploit. So go ahead and download it. It's a virtual machine file, so you can only open it through a virtual machine, and it really does not need a lot of system resources. As you can see, I have it opened here. And I'm just using the default login credentials. I haven't created a user, and it's as vanilla as can be. So the most essential thing, as I said, is getting the IP. So I'm on my local network. Again, you can use your public IPs to target machines, which is one of the ways we'll be using for client-side attacks and also for server-side attacks. But I'm going to be working on my network because the virtual machines are on my network, obviously. But the principle stays the same. Now, make sure that your virtual machine is running in the NAT mode on your network, essentially meaning that you've created a domain for it. All right, so it's going to share the host IP address. Now, let's find out what the local IP address is for the Metasploitable virtual machine. So I'm just going to hit ifconfig. It does not have a graphical user interface or a desktop environment, but you can install that and you can use it like that. But I'm just going to keep it as vanilla as possible. So ifconfig, all right, to get the local IP. And as you can see, the local IP is 192.168.2.129. All right, so that's what we're going to be trying to connect to. Now, as I said, this is a web server. All right, Metasploitable is going to act as a web server or a server. So if we go back to ParrotOS and I open up a browser and let this open up Firefox really quickly. I don't know why it's taking so much time. This is all right, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter the IP address of the Metasploitable machine. All right, so I'm just going to hit 192.168.2.129. I already have it in my search bar, and as you can see, if I enter the IP address of the Metasploitable machine, it's going to give me the web server. So I entered the IP address of the Metasploitable machine, and we can access it as a server. So that means it's working. And the first thing you'll realize is that there's no security, so anyone can essentially log into this server, which is why Metasploitable is encouraged to be run in a virtualized environment. So Metasploitable, as you can see, warning: never expose this VM to an untrusted network, and you can contact them. So it basically comes with all of these cool things like PHP My Admin for PHP. You have Matilde, which is awesome for testing your PHP scripts and vulnerabilities, which we'll be looking at. No doubt about that. We then have the damn vulnerable web application, which again is one of the things you'll be trying to crack. And here we are. We have a notification from YouTube, and we have one of these fake comments saying for fake driver's license. Oh, I'm gonna deal with him later. Anyway, that's beside the point. So this is essentially the server. Now, when trying to attack a server, what are you looking for? Well, one of the things you're looking for is, because right now we are still in the information gathering phase, we need to gather information about the server. So one of the tools we can use is Nmap or Zenmap. I would encourage you to use Zenmap if you're a beginner, to have a good understanding of how things are displayed. I've always recommended that. So let's move, let's just go to applications, and in ParrotOS, it's in information gathering and Zenmap. All right. So it's starting up Zenmap, and all you have to do is just enter the IP in the target. Again, it can be a local IP address or a public IP address. And we can just go ahead and use the intense scan. And here are the commands if you want to use it in Nmap. You're pretty much scanning, you're verbosing the information, you're getting all the services and the IPv4 information. So if we scan for this, it's going to essentially show us all the what ports are open, what services are running, so you can then move on from there. So let's give it a scan, and it'll essentially show us what's running on this server. So as you can see, right off the bat, you have a plethora of awesome ports open here. Like if you saw this on a server, of course not a server built for vulnerability, this would be like the the gold mine for a pen tester or an ethical hacker, or a hacker for that matter. So as you can see, you have all your TCP, you have your FTP ports open, which is super to say the least. So as you can see, I believe the scan is done. Let's see, is it done? Yeah, there we go. So you really can just scroll through the results that it gives you, and if you go down here to the port, so there we go. So we have it has port 21 is open, which is the FTP. I believe it was configured wrongly. That's the way it's designed to be. So with FTP, it means you can basically upload and download files from the server using this software right here, which I'll get to in a second. You then have SSH. Awesome stuff there. So SSH is essentially secure shell, which means you can connect to the server. Alright, granted you have the username and the password to go along with it. So we can actually try that out right now from my ParrotOS. So let's say we wanted to, we can see that the SSH port is open, and let's say we have the username and password. So what we can do, or if there was an exploit we could use, that would be even better. So I'm going to just use SSH. All right, and the username for the Metasploit virtual machine is msfadmin. All right, at the IP address, which is 192.168.2.129, and that should connect us. We don't have to specify the port. The port is always going to be port 22. And if we hit enter, yes, it's going to ask us for the RSA key, and there we are. So the password is msfadmin by default, and there we are. We are in the Metasploitable machine, and we can list the files, and those are the current files in there. We can also view the IP address if we wanted to, like so. Ethernet, there we are, that's the IP address. Who am I? Uname R, and there we are, that's the server. So awesome. So that means we can actually, go through SSH. But again, some of you may be saying, yes, it is vulnerable. And I understand that. I'm just showing you how one would approach it. So let me just log out of the Metasploitable machine there. And if we go back here, again, you can just move on to the ports and hosts tab right here. and it's going to show you all the ports with the services that they're running. So for the SSH port, you have Debian. It's based off Debian. You have your Telnet, which is just a shame at this point, because it can easily be cracked. You have your Samba web servers. What else do you have? Metasploitable root shell. We're going to be looking at that. So we have MySQL databases. So this is really Metasploitable is really an operating system designed to be vulnerable, and you can customize how vulnerable it is to test your skills. Now, the essence here, or what I was getting at is, as you can see, with the information that we have gathered already, we can perform a plethora of attacks. Now, we have this FTP server here, and what a hacker would do in this case is he would look for an exploit for this software or for the service that it's running. In this case, it's using VSFTPD, alright, which is version 2.3.4. So we can actually just Google it. It's as simple as that, So we can just Google it. I know I don't encourage you to use Google, but we're not doing anything really dangerous right now. So VSFTPD 2.3.4. Let me just change that back to, there we are, and you can just search for exploits. All right, and so there we are. Immediately, just right off the bat, you have Rapid7, the company that or the people that made Metasploit already have an exploit here. So it's a backdoor command execution. So this module exploits a malicious backdoor that was added, blah blah blah. The backdoor is introduced, and essentially it's a backdoor and gives you full access and allows you to use command execution. So that is awesome. Now again, this is going to be using the you're obviously going to be using Metasploit, all right? So you can go ahead and start using Metasploit for that, but I want to keep that for a later video because Metasploit really deserves its own video for exploiting the server. Or you can actually just try it right now, MSF console, and it really gives you all the information you need in terms of the exploit. So just let it start up. Again, this is one of the things I was trying to avoid. The startup on this is always a long time. And we got another notification there. Let me just clear that out. But essentially what I'm trying to put across is here is it's really important that you have good information gathering skills. Again, you have your HTTP server port open, and that's running Apache. So again, Apache exploits, go ahead and search for that. You find one. You can use Metasploit, which is what most people would use, or they'll try and connect through SSH. But many people want to install a backdoor, for example, or find remote code execution or reverse shell, etc., things like that. But that's a basic way of gaining access to a server. Now, I know it's not the most advanced way, but we'll be moving on to using things like Metasploit and stuff like that. But in the meantime, we can actually just try and use this. Let me just go back to my browser here. So use exploit. I don't want to type this right now. That will just be wasting time for you guys as well. So I'm just going to use the exploit that it's saying here. So Metasploit knows what exploit we want to use. So there we are. It's recognized it. So now we want to show the targets. Show targets, ID, name, nothing there right now, and you can show options, but first obviously you have to set your target ID. So let's first show the options for some of you who know how to use. So let's set target, set target the target address, and we put it in there. So 2.168.2.129, I believe. Let's set the target, and we can then finally exploit it. So let's run it and let's see if we get anything in return. There we are. Exploit completed, but no session was created. I'll have to look into that. But anyway, you guys get the idea. I really didn't want to put emphasis on Metasploit right now. There's a lot of other much better exploits that you can be using, especially when looking at web servers. We'll be configuring the Metasploitable machine to be a bit more secure so we can actually test our skills more effectively. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. This is just going to be one video in the series of gaining access, whether it be server side or client side attacks. Hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section, or you can hit me up on my social networks. If you have any personal questions, you can hit me up on Kick. For the latest hacking news and resources, check out my website. Link will be in the description, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Peace.